Dirk Beveridge here, founder of Unleashed WD and the executive producer of We Supply America, coming to you live on this beautiful, what is today? Wednesday morning from Champaign-Urbana, the campus of University of Illinois, Champaign Research Park in the DNext Innovation Lab. That is the innovation heart and soul and hub of the American Supply Association, led by the amazing VP of Innovation for ASA, Beth Ladd, and she was kind enough to open the doors for me. Welcome, come on in. We have a great day for you, hour today or 30 minutes today to introduce this new report, The Future of Distribution. You know, the future of distribution is all about leadership, people, and innovation. In today's LinkedIn Live, I'm going to give you a preview of our new report that dives into these topics. So please come on in, say hello in the comments. Let me know that you're here. We'll say hello to you as you come on in. Here is my host for the day, Beth Ladd, and I at the entrance of the DNext Innovation Lab. I am absolutely thrilled to be here. Come on in, everybody, and we are going to get started in exactly 2 minutes. All right? Thanks for being here. Let's get this thing going. Hey, good morning again, everybody. Dirk Beveridge here, founder of Unleashed WD, executive producer of We Supply America. Thank you for joining us. The future of distribution is all about 3 critical success factors. When you remove the noise, there are 3 critical success factors, 3 critical pillars that are going to define distribution's future. And the research that I'm going to share with you today, that's going to be launched in total on August 25th, is going to share with you the insights relative to those 3 pillars: leadership, people, and innovation. And in today's live, I'd like to give you some insights relative to the research we have done that is going to share a roadmap for us to reimagine leadership in our very first report. So thank you for joining us. Continue to come on in. I appreciate you being here. Let me say hello to those of you that are coming in and saying hello, just real quick, if you don't mind. So here we go. Let me see, add to the broadcast. Anthony, thank you so much for being here. Love that you are here. Preston, we ran into each other at Enforced Tug, the user group. Great to see you, my friend Joshua. Good seeing you. Thanks for being here. Tony, great to see you. Always. Susan Merlo, great to see you. And yes, Howie, I do have my Diet Coke, Mr. Diet Coke. I am here. Katie Paling, great to see you. Oh my gosh, I watched the preview yesterday, Katie. good things are about to come. And Beth Ladd said hello to you as well. I love being down here at the D-Next Lab. You guys, thanks for being here. Corey, Nate, Mickey, I can't put you all up. Mickey, Tammy, Carrie Johnson, great to see you from Gray Bar in St. Louis. Thanks for being here. Tommy, Alta, and everybody else coming in, thank you so very, very much. So let me just paint the picture for today. What I'd love to do is I'd love to share with you some insights on some, what I believe is new landmark research that is going to help you drive conversation in your organizations relative to the future of distribution. So where did this research come from? Well, many of you know that I am on the second season of our We Supply America tour right now as we speak. The We Supply America tour is an initiative of ours to go out and absolutely champion the noble calling of distribution. Last year, 35 different states, 34 different distribution businesses, 16,000 miles. A lot more, I forget, all right? And all to champion the noble calling of distribution. Season 2, I'm in the middle of it. I just went over 7,500 miles, 15 different distributors. I'm at the D-Next Lab of the American Supply Association Innovation Lab here in Champaign-Urbana. And I got to tell you something. What I have the opportunity to do this summer is to go and visit the good people of distribution, just like you, such as the people on Long Island at Broadfield, out in Connecticut, the great individuals at Bender, in Monroe Township, New Jersey, L&R, down in Greenville, South Carolina, the great team at ProSource, up in Madison, the great organization, Gustav A. Larson, over in Milwaukee, the great team at Marsh, up in Green Bay, Amahart, and the list goes on and on and on. And we're out here championing the noble calling distribution and meeting those leaders who are going to drive the future of distribution. For those of you that are new, we just launched our trailer for season 2 of We Supply America that really is one of the 3 foundations of this research. So let me just share this trailer with you right now. In a post-pandemic world, leadership is being redefined. Forces outside of our control and forces within our businesses are calling us to be different leaders than we were going into the pandemic. Both new and veteran leaders throughout distribution are showing the way forward. These leaders are the noble generation. These leaders we need to meet. This is We Supply America, Season 2. So I tell you, when you have the opportunity to do what I have the opportunity to do, to take the summer and visit the good people of the economic heartland of this country, distributors, those who keep America supplied. When you do that all summer, season 1 last summer, and in the midst of it this summer, I guarantee you, it changes you. When you walk through the warehouses, when you meet the drivers, when you meet the marketers, when you meet those in finance, when you meet the C-suite, and you understand what drives them, you, me, leave that tour a different person, thinking differently. And it's those experiences that have led us to this moment right now to introduce to you a new triannual report on the future of distribution. So what I'd love to do is spend a few minutes with you introducing this new triennial report, the future of distribution, what it is, what makes it different, what makes it important, and how you're going to be able to use it. And then I'd love to give you a brief introduction to the first report we've titled Reimagining Leadership. That's going to be available on August 25th. So let's get into it if you don't mind. And guys, as we go, I'm looking at the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts as we go forward, please. So, because as I travel the country, obviously, I hear about the great resignation. And I hear about the talent, the war on talent that we have. And as I travel this country, one of the premises I've had is this, is that when we're talking about, for example, the great resignation, I ask myself, are we looking at the cause or the effect? And I believe there's an opportunity for us as we think about the future of distribution to bring our thinking up just a little bit. Because what I see happening is what I call the great redefinition. The great redefinition. I think what we all can agree is that everything, and can we say everything is being redefined. How we work is being redefined. How we live is being redefined. How we play is being redefined. How you sell is being redefined. How you use technology is being redefined. How you recruit is being redefined. Home builders, how they are designing their homes for the way people are redefining their lives is being redefined. We can go on, and the point is that everything is being redefined. You see, what I see is the confluence of three fundamental forces that is generating this great redefinition. These three forces are the confluence of external forces, internal forces, and what I call people forces. The external forces, the list goes on, the supply chain, inflation, labor, technology, social changes, consolidation. And what's happening is that there's this acceleration of impact on all of those external forces at one time. And at the same time, the internal forces, our ability to attract talent, retain talent, team members, management succession, blending of generations, the shifting needs and wants and desires of our employees. And then there's people issues, the hybrid workforce, growing diversity, the polarization of social and political views, the human toll of COVID, shifting definition of work. We could go on and on and on. But what I see as I'm walking these warehouses is this confluence of these three forces are absolutely redefining everything. And as leaders responsible for the future of distribution, responsible for the future of your business, we must get our arms around that so that we can develop the strategies to create the future of our business and of distribution. And when you remove the noise, when you look at all of these forces that are creating this great redefinition, when you remove the noise, what I see is that the future of definition is going to be defined by three fundamental strategic pillars. Those three fundamental strategic pillars that are going to define the future of distribution is leadership, people, and innovation. Leadership. Our organizations are capped. The ceiling of our organizations are capped by the capabilities and the talent of your leadership team. Your organization cannot rise above the talent, the capabilities of your leadership team. Thus, it's one of the three strategic imperatives. People. Those of you that have been following me on the We Supply America tour for the last year and a half, you know how I have just been changed by the people I meet in this business. And distribution is a people business. We talk about the warehouse, we talk about the technology, we talk about the suppliers, we talk about the product, but in the end, our business is about our people. And it's our people who are going to drive the future of distribution. And three is, of course, innovation. In this great redefinition, we must continue to challenge the status quo in everything. Yes, let's talk about the great resignation. We must challenge and innovate our culture. We must challenge and innovate our recruiting process. We must challenge and innovate our employee value. We could go on. But the third is innovation. So as you hear that premise, A, the great redefinition, that everything is being redefined. And when you hear these three strategic imperatives that are going to define the future of distribution, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you agree, disagree? Help me think that further in the comments. I would absolutely love to hear that. So with that premise, we think that it's absolutely imperative to drive a conversation throughout the whole of distribution on this great redefinition and these three imperatives. And as of today, what I'd like to announce, introduce, is a new tri-annual report that's going to come out of Unleash WD. It's going to come out of our organization. A tri-annual research-based report that is titled The Future of Distribution. And each of the three reports each year are going to take an in-depth look at those three pillars. The first, that's going to be available on August 25th, is going to focus on leadership, thus the reimagining of leadership, the title of our first issue. Next, we're going to look at people. And then third, we're going to look at innovation. And we are going to drive conversations, research-based conversation on each of those three pillars. Now, I also would like to suggest that what you will see in these reports, in these conversations that we're going to drive, is you're going to get a very unique perspective, because the insights that are going to be provided to you in this Future of Distribution triannual report is based on one-of-a-kind research, one-of-a-kind differentiated research that comes out of our organization, Unleash WD. See, there are also three pillars of the research that we do. The first pillar of our research is, of course, the surveys. We develop premises, I'll tell you about that in a second, and then we go out to the industry with online surveys to drive that quantitative information and insights so that we can find the individuals who are thinking, who have different thoughts than us, who can expand our thoughts, our premises, and the like. So number one, we have that online research. Number two, our research is based on the think tanks and the strategy sessions that I lead every day as I'm working with the C-suite individuals throughout distribution. As we lead strategy sessions for associations and individual companies, I have the amazing good fortune to sit down with C-suite individuals in small groups and to pull out from them what are the critical issues on their minds today relative to the future of distribution. So number one is that online research. Number two, that deep insight that we get from the think tanks and the strategy sessions that we lead with our clients. And number three, and I believe the most unique of research and one of a kind, is the fact that I have the great fortune to spend my summers crossing this country on the We Supply America tour. And I get to meet people not through online surveys, not on the telephone or Zoom calls, but I get to meet the people of distribution where they work, in the warehouse, in the cab of the truck. And it's not a one-off thing. We are continually doing that throughout the entire summer. So you put those three pillars of the research together, the online, the think tanks, and our ability to get in the field, on the job with your people, I truly do believe that the research that's going to be brought to you will absolutely drive new thinking throughout the organization. So, super excited about the future of distribution that is going to be coming to you and your way. Let me see if I can find another screen. Let me see this. So, thanks. So let me just see. I asked for your input, and I'd love to see what you guys said. So LinkedIn News said, right on target. Thank you. You're liking this. Anthony says, hasn't it always been this way? Innovation comes from people who are enabled by leadership. Oh, Anthony, I love it. You and I need to talk. Corey, you say you absolutely agree. Thank you. I'd love to see that. And then Marty, research insights and deep personal connections. Can't match that anywhere. Go Dirk, outstanding. Thank you, Marty. And we are super excited to bring that to you, Marty, and to work with the AD team as well. So let me get into it and share with you the first issue of Future of Distribution, which is going to be available to you first with a live webinar that I'm going to host on August 25th. And then you're going to be able to download this 20+ page research on reimagining leadership. So what is this first issue, A Future of Distribution, going to focus on? Let me share with you that, okay? So coming off of We Supply America Season 1, I learned a lot of lessons, but I had two fundamental premises that kept me up at night, that really drove our first research report on the future of distribution. And let me put those up, and I'd love you to tell me your initial visceral reaction to these two premises, okay? Let me know in the comments. The two premises that really drove this first report on reimagining leadership, you see them on the screen. The first premise is that the very nature of leadership is changing more rapidly than most of us realize. That's premise number one. Again, as I'm walking the warehouse, as I'm working with your team, I'm seeing what's going on in this business and the industry. And what I see, what I sense, what I believe is that the very nature of leadership is changing. Premise number one. Premise number two is that even in this digital age that we live in, that will be our lives going forward, my second premise is that humanity is going to play an even larger role going forward than it ever has. So those were our two premises. And we set out to prove or disprove those premises in our research, those three pillars, through our online research, through our think tanks, and yes, through my interacting with individuals on the We Supply America tour. And the results of that is what is going to be published on August 25th. So here you go. Let me share with you some of the high-level insights that you're going to be able to dive deep into when we publish Future of Distribution on August 25th. Ready? Here you go. We want to prove and disprove those two premises, that the very nature of leadership is changing more rapidly than ever before, and that humanity is going to play a more important role going forward in our leadership. So the first question we asked is, do you agree with the premise that the nature of leadership is in fact changing? And what we found is that 77% of you, 77% of leaders throughout distribution do in fact believe that the very nature of leadership is changing as a result of COVID and other disruptive forces. And you think about that. You think about how our business has changed. You think about how we've had to pivot. You think about the changing needs of our suppliers, the changing needs of our customers, yes, the changing needs, wants, desires of our employees. If everything is being redefined, it only makes sense that we have to stop and think about, do we need to reimagine, rethink how we lead in this world where everything is being redefined? So yes, in the report, We dive into this and we get into the insights of individuals throughout distribution, why they believe in this. And by the way, we also share with you an alternative view. Some people do not believe that leadership has changed, and there's a good argument for that. And we explore that in the research as well. There is a good argument for that. We explore that as well. I do introduce a new term, I believe, in this report relative to that alternative view that leadership isn't changing. If you go back to 1960s, Harvard Business Review, Ted Levitt wrote an article titled "Marketing Myopia." I took that title and I termed something called pandemic myopia. And what I have found is that our businesses, by and large, have done very, very well. From a financial perspective, many of our businesses have done very, 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 very well. And I find that that might be a pull to say, you know what, we can continue to just lead the way we led in the past. Pandemic myopia. We talk about that. We explore all sides of this issue. What do you think? Let's get into it on August 25th when we publish the report. One of the second things that we asked is, do you believe that we have to lead differently on this side of the pandemic than when we came in? Katie Palin, CEO of First Supply, is on. Katie, thank you for being here. And I talk about a conversation that I had with Katie, I believe in January, and she told me about this amazing meeting, offsite meeting that she had with her executive team in December of last year. And what she said was that that as an executive team, they came to the conclusion that together they had gone through this pandemic together, and it brought them together as a team, and they had to lead in a different way. And it suggested to them that they cannot be the same leaders they were coming into the pandemic as they were going out. Katie drove my thinking. And so I wanted to ask that. Do you believe that we must be a different leader on this side of the pandemic than going in? And what we found is that 83% of us believe that we must fundamentally think about leading our organizations in a different way. So there's a lot to think about. There's a lot to talk about. Everything's being redefined. I think we need to spend some time thinking about reimagining what it means to lead going forward when we look at the future of distribution. One more statistic, if you don't mind. And this one is another premise that I had, right? So the first premise is that the very nature of leadership is changing more rapidly than most of us realize. Those first two data points, right? And now the second premise was, I believe. Man, when I stand on the receiving docks and cry with drivers because of the impact of COVID, when I sit and I hear and I ask somebody about the tattoo on their arm, and they tell me about their brother's suicide. When I hear about everything that's been in the news about homeschooling and how the last 2.5 years have impacted us at the human level, I ask myself, is that going to impact how we lead going forward? And what I found is that 93% of us says we're going to have to look at the whole person. It's no longer just about the job. The job's important. It's no longer just about the productivity is important. But our employees are not just employees. They're mothers, they're fathers, they're athletes, they're dreamers. They have goals. They want to achieve. They want to live. And yes, work-life balance. I think we're going to be talking more about life-work balance. There's so much to unpack here. And in the report, we're going to start that conversation with you, because I truly believe, and you all believe, that the human element is going to play a more important role. So much to think about, so much to talk about. On August 25th, I hope you download that report and bring it to your organization, because we need to have that conversation. So I am absolutely, absolutely proud of the work we're doing. I'm excited about the work we're doing, because we have the opportunity to reach out online in those surveys and do those think tanks. And yes, I be out here with you every day, walk in the warehouse, meeting your people, the insights that we're going to be able to bring to you and drive conversations. That's what I want to do, drive conversations relative to the future of your business, future of distribution, because those of you who know me know that down to my core, I do believe you are the backbone of this country. We don't have what we have in this country without every single one of you, every single driver, every single picker, every single accounts payable, every single marketer. We need you all. And we need to be thinking about the future of distribution. And I hope this does it. Now, one last data point. It was almost, I look at it and it was almost a throwaway question on the online survey that we had. And I asked, do you believe that, to what degree do you believe pioneering and innovating is going to be important going forward? Right? Okay. And 95% of us said, yes, we do believe the need to pioneer and innovate are going to play an important role in leadership in a post-pandemic world, without question. I mean, come on, Dirk, that's a throwaway question. But here's my question for you, and here's what we explore, and here's what I want to explore in your organization when you download this report. When you hear the word innovation, what word is typically automatically associated with the word innovation? What I find when I ask that question, innovation triggers the word technology. And yes, we need to innovate around that. But here's the point with the first issue of future of distribution. When we think about pioneering and innovating with this first issue, what I hope this drives is the conversation of the need to pioneer and innovate how we lead, what leadership means going forward as we define the future of distribution. And last insight here, and so I'm so excited to get this in your hands. But when I talk about pioneering innovation, here's where my mind has gone as I travel this country working on the We Supply America tour with all of you. What I see, this is the way my mind goes, and this is the way we've driven some of the conversation in the report that you're going to download. In my mind, there's 4 phases of leadership over the years. Number 1 was controlling. I and my father, we were taught to lead in a controlling, legislating, use fear as a motivator. That's how we were taught as a leader. That's worked back then. And then that evolved to a more sophisticated form of leadership, what I'll call managing, where we focused on the day-to-day, the administration, where we had to get things done, pick, pack, and ship, and man, get that efficiency down, and man, that's what leadership became. And then leadership evolved to a third phase of leadership that is, in fact, leading. That's when we talk about things like looking to the future. We have a vision. We put in place a strategy, right? That leadership. My premise, as we pioneer and we innovate, and we define the future of distribution, and we reimagine leadership. To me, there's a 4th level of leadership that is emerging that we're going to need to be thinking more about, that I term the noble calling of leadership. And this is where purpose, humanity, people, individual potential takes center stage to drive, to help individuals, as I say, fulfill their potential, and then the business fulfills its potential. So the results are absolutely staggering. Relative to that. I cannot wait for you to get into that and see the shift that is going to have to take place over the next 5 years, according to our research, from managing to this noble generation. The results are staggering. And I cannot wait for you to get into there, look at that, and start thinking about what does that mean to how you and your team lead in your organization. So you guys, that's the overview that I wanted to provide to you. We are super excited. We are proud of the conversation we're going to lead through this new triannual report, Future of Distribution. I do believe There are three strategic premises, three strategic pillars that are going to drive the future of distribution. When you remove the noise in this great redefinition that we are in, when you remove the noise, three strategic pillars: people, leadership, and innovation. Each year, the future of distribution is going to dive deep into each of those three strategic pillars, and we're going to bring to you the latest thinking in terms of each of those three strategic pillars as you think about redefining leadership. So what I encourage you to do, what I ask you to do right now, is all of this is going to be available at leadership.futureofdistribution.com, leadership.futureofdistribution.com. Would you do me a favor? Would you go there? Would you register for our August 25th webinar where we're going to dive deep and you're going to be able to immediately download on the 25th this first issue of Future of Distribution? So go to leadership.futureofdistribution.com. Would you do me a favor, please? Help spread this message wide, because this is a conversation that we need to have. As I say, I don't have all the answers. I have some insights. I believe some great insights because of those three pillars. But this is designed as a call to action in your organization to really, in this case, rethink what it means to lead going forward. So when you go to leadership.futureofdistribution.com, here is the actual website that you will see. You'll go there, and please help us share this wide with your network. I'd really appreciate that. You get to register for the webinar that we'll have at 1 o'clock on August 25th. Register for that. That means you'll automatically get the downloaded report when it comes out. But you'll see on this page, when you help share it wide with us, you'll see some of the highlights of it and then what you're going to get out of this report. And you can register for that webinar and the report all at the same time. And I really would encourage you to do that, because I'd love to have this conversation with every single one of you. So the future of distribution, it's here, it's important, it's unique, it's different, and it's going to drive different and needed conversation throughout your organization. So I really appreciate you being here today. Would you let me know what's going on in your thinking? Let me see if I can get a clean screen and share with you some of the things that we're saying. So what are you thinking relative to the premises that I've just shared, this triennial report, the future of distribution? And I would absolutely love to see it. So let me just see. I'm just going to pull up some without being able to read it. Emma, thank you. You say, I love this topic and look forward to more in the future, but I believe the customer's needs to be at the center of the conversation. Without question, they need to be at the center of the conversation, Emma. So thank you. Innovation should be more externally focused. Innovation is, I think, both externally and internally. Let's talk about it, Emma. I love that. Thank you. Somebody else says, leadership was forced to change by COVID, but only on a temporary basis. The shape of the whole changed, but most leadership is still trying to use the same shaped peg. Hallelujah. Get into the report, and we talk about that in a big way. Yeah. So here, Corey, a good friend of mine, says, Corey, he doesn't agree with me. I love that. That's why we need to have that conversation. The nature of leadership principles don't change. And Corey, this is what I suggest. In the report, there is this alternative view, and it's important to have this alternative view out there. We put it in front of you, and let's have that conversation. Okay? Let's see. Let me see. Anthony, innovation should equal improvement. Tony says, I'm intrigued. Thank you. Chris Granger says, what is the link again? Thank you for asking that. So everybody, you could go to leadership.futureofdistribution.com, and we are super excited about this new triennial report, The Future of Distribution. 3 strategic pillars: leadership, people, and innovation. The first issue, as we talked about, is reimagining leadership. There's a lot of great insight in there. Quantitative, qualitative. The stories that come from my We Supply America are going to help you rethink and drive conversation about leading into the future. So there you have it, everybody. Leadership.futureofdistribution.com. I am so darn appreciative of you being with me today. I'm so darn appreciative of you wanting to be a part of this conversation. The future of distribution is absolutely critical to the 6 million individuals employed. It's absolutely critical as a $7 trillion economic engine on this planet. It's absolutely critical to our local communities that we continue to have these conversations, thinking about the future of distribution so that we can all drive for our businesses at sustainability, relevance, profitability, and then for the individuals, again, that human element, that we help every individual fulfill their potential because humanity is going to play a more important role going forward. So there you have it, everybody. Let me know your final thoughts, please. Thanks for joining me today. There's so much more. Please, please, please go to leadership.futureofdistribution.com. That's where we'll get you information on the webinar. We'll dive deep into everything, where you'll get to download the report on August 25th, and we'll keep you informed prior to then. So thank you all for joining us. I really love the conversations that we are going to be having, and thanks for what you're doing. Awesome. Lillian, thank you. Thank you for being with us. I, too, am looking forward to the August 25th webinar and the report. It's going to be super great. So you guys, thanks for joining us. For now, from the DNext Lab, the American Supply Association's Innovation Lab down here at Research Park, University of Illinois, Champaign-Urbana, with the great leader of the DNext Lab, Beth Ladd, who was kind enough to open this up for me today, because I'm on my way to Louisville. Oh, tomorrow's going to be great. Keep watching LinkedIn. Tomorrow's going to be great. I'm going to be with two amazing companies, and it's just really going to be fantastic. So thank you all for being here. Mickey, thank you. I really appreciate it. Dennis, thank you. I believe this topic is super important, and we absolutely, absolutely need to have this conversation. Marty, thank you. As a marketer, you're on the site right now, and the content on it and the structure of it, you appreciate it. That means a lot to us. We put a lot of thought into it, Marty, and as a marketer, as an amazing marketer, your insight means a lot to us. Susan, she's knocking it out of the park again. She always does. Bethany does, absolutely. Katie, as always, thank you. And Katie, yes, I had a tear in my eye last night as I previewed the first We Supply America film that's going to feature you and your team. First Supply, 125 years. So it's fantastic. Thank you. So much coming on. So much going to be coming out of Unleash WD. So much coming out of We Supply America. So it's fantastic. Howie, as always, thank you, my friend, for being here. Guys, let's go out there, have an amazing day, and go to, one more time, for those of you, leadership.futureofdistribution.com, leadership.futureofdistribution.com. We have some great conversations in front of us, and we will talk to you all later. Thanks for being here, everybody.